Post-Revolutionary War fate of HMS Jersey. The HMS Jersey, originally a 60-gun fourth-rate ship of the line launched in 1736, holds a significant yet grim place in history, particularly for its role during the American Revolutionary War. Before its infamous chapter as a prison vessel, the ship saw active service in the War of Jenkins' Ear and the 7 Years' War, indicating a substantial period of operation within the British Royal Navy. This prior service suggests that by the time of the American Revolution, the vessel was already aging, a factor that likely contributed to its later conversion to less demanding roles. In March 1771, the aging Jersey underwent its first conversion, transforming into a hospital ship, demonstrating the evolving needs of the British fleet. However, with the burgeoning conflict in the American colonies, the ship was hulked and repurposed again in the winter of 1779, this time as a prison ship moored in Wallabout Bay, New York, an area that would eventually become the Brooklyn Navy Yard. It is in this role that the HMS Jersey earned its notorious reputation and the grim moniker Hell, due to the appalling conditions endured by the American prisoners held within its confines. From 1779 until the conclusion of the Revolutionary War in 1783, the HMS Jersey served as a primary detention site for American soldiers, sailors, and civilians captured by the British forces. The conditions aboard were characterized by severe overcrowding, with as many as 1,100 individuals confined to a ship originally designed to accommodate around 400 sailors. This extreme density exacerbated the already dire circumstances as the prisoners suffered from a critical lack of food, clean water, fresh air, and basic sanitation. Consequently, disease and malnutrition became rampant, leading to a staggering death toll estimated at between 8 and 12 individuals per day on the Jersey alone. The sheer number of deaths underscores the immense suffering experienced by those imprisoned on the vessel, with some historians suggesting that the total number of deaths on British prison ships surpassed the number of American combat fatalities during the entire war. The deceased were often buried hastily in shallow graves along the shores of Wallabout Bay, a practice that further highlighted the dehumanizing conditions within the prison system. Even after the decisive British surrender at Yorktown in 1781, American prisoners continued to be held on the HMS Jersey and other prison ships until the formal cessation of hostilities in 1783. This prolonged period of captivity indicates that the process of releasing prisoners was not immediate and likely involved logistical and diplomatic complexities. As the end of the war approached, and the British prepared to evacuate New York City in 1783, the HMS Jersey was described as a, quote, aging and unsightly old hulk. Its rudder had reportedly been removed, rendering it unseaworthy. This state of disrepair suggests that the vessel was no longer considered viable for active naval service, and was primarily used for its static function as a prison. The British Royal Navy did not undertake a formal decommissioning process for the HMS Jersey following the Revolutionary War. Instead, given its deteriorated condition and the impending evacuation of New York City, the decision was made to abandon the vessel in Wallabout Bay at the end of 1783. This abandonment was a practical measure, as the unseaworthy hulk would have presented a logistical burden for the departing British forces. Subsequently, the HMS Jersey was set ablaze. This act of burning the abandoned ship was likely intended to prevent it from falling into the hands of the newly formed United States, or from becoming a navigational obstruction in the harbor. The destruction of the vessel marked the definitive end of its service. The final fate of the HMS Jersey was its destruction by fire in 1783, following the British departure from New York. Some historical accounts further suggest that after being burned, the remnants of the ship sank into the mud of the Brooklyn harbor. This combination of fire and sinking likely resulted in the complete loss of the vessel, with minimal physical remains surviving above the waterline. Consequently, the HMS Jersey was not sailed away or repurposed by the British or any other entity after the war. Its final resting place is generally accepted to be somewhere within the vicinity of the modern Brooklyn Navy Yard. The demise of the HMS Jersey in this manner signifies a somber conclusion to its long and often brutal history. Regarding the possibility of repurposing the HMS Jersey after the Revolutionary War, the available evidence strongly indicates that this did not occur. The ship's unseaworthy condition, coupled with the British decision to abandon and burn it, effectively precluded any further use. The vessel's notorious association with the suffering of American prisoners would have also likely made any attempt at repurposing it highly unpopular and impractical. While significant archaeological discoveries of the HMS Jersey itself have not been reported, the historical significance of the ship and the plight of its prisoners are commemorated through various sites and memorials. The initial burial of the thousands of deceased prisoners in shallow graves along the shores of Wallabout Bay was a stark reality of the time. As the area developed, the remains were eventually collected and reinterred. In 1808, the remains found along the shore were placed in a crypt on Jackson Street, which is now known as Hudson Avenue. Later, in 1873, these remains were moved once more to Fort Greene Park. The culmination of these efforts is the Prison Ship Martyrs Monument, dedicated in Fort Greene Park in 1908. This monument serves as a lasting tribute to the over 11,000 individuals, including those who perished on the HMS Jersey, who died on British prison ships during the Revolutionary War. The discovery of human remains during the expansion of the Brooklyn Navy Yard further underscores the direct connection of this area to the grim history of the prison ships.